I've collected the reward. Deal reward. Crown lethal poison deals 962 poison damage per second for 0.5 seconds and 625 poison damage per second for 1 second. 10-second cooldown. All poisons are applied 20% of the time on light attacks, heavy attacks and weapon abilities, while slotted this poison suppresses your weapon enhancements. So does that mean it suppresses 1742 flame damage or not? In any case, I'll have to just kind of find out and see if that's the case. Okay, so yeah, that looks like it. As you can see now, instead of having 1742 flame damage, it instead has a 962 poison damage per second and 625 poison damage per second for 1 second, 10-second cooldown, and I just don't think that that's much better than 1742 flame damage. That's already a base. So what I was doing previously there, I was looking for this mission that had to arise here, and I checked on the internet. There has to be an NPC here that asked me to go to another land, and it's just not there, and that's very unfortunate. In any case, I'll have to go here and pick this up, whatever that is. Consumables crafting bricks. You notice a prominent handbill on the requisition board. Lord Vivek gives greetings. Masters of the craft await you in Vivek City. We offer training for all new to their craft and certification for accomplished crafters free for all citizens. Redefined print. Unskilled crafters will be certified after brief training. Skilled crafters will be certified immediately. The masters shall charge no fee for certification. Certification is mandatory to fulfill crafting bricks. Interested parties should seek Millenith at the Fighters Guild for blacksmith, clothier and woodworker certification. Speak with Daniel Taleno at the Mage Guild for provisioner, enchanter and alchemist certification. Take the handbill. Okay, so that's another quest for learning some craftsmanship. As well, there's more. No, there isn't anymore. So what I've learned there is that there can be multiple NPCs offering the same quests. So for example, I've been looking for a quest here nearby here, but it wasn't there. Like right over there when my shot kind of lands. I was hoping to find somebody there, but nobody was there. In any case, what else do I see here? Silt Strider Station. Why brave the dangers of the open road or pay the high cost of an unsettling sea voyage when you can travel overland in safety and comfort aboard the friendly Silt Strider? Why ride a caravan of questionable virtue when the Red Mountain Company Express Silt Strider service is available at a fraction of the cost? Visit any of our Silt Strider stations located conveniently in towns throughout Vardenfell and connect to destinations far and near. Want to leave the hustle of Vivek City behind? Travel to Balmora and see the canals, or visit the plantations of Suran. Stuck in the outskirts of Gnisis? It's just a short trip via the Caravaner Tower outside town and you can reach Telmora before dinner. The Red Mountain Company Express Silt Strider service located at Caravaner Towers all across Vardenfell can get you where you need to go. Remember, when you climb aboard the Silt Strider, your destination is just a hop, skip and a jump away. Alright, what else do we have here? Steel Strider Station. That's the same thing, really. Interestingly, there's Fighters Guild handbill. Ready for adventure. The Fighters Guild is looking for strong hearts and stout arms to combine the Daedric threat. Seek out ISSR in St. Valens Canton today. I should find ISSR at the Fighters Guild. Surely I should do just that. Adventurers wanted. Adventurers wanted. Due to volume of requests for aid from our loyal citizens, a system of brokering jobs between those in need and those willing to help has been established. See Unel Dorano in the Hall of Justice for more information. Okay. So let's see what we have currently, Wonderful. Call for aid. I found a notice stating that adventurers looking for rewarding work should report to Hall of Justice. I should find Unel Dorano and speak to him for more information. This is the one I was doing recently. We've got some crafting quests. As long as these are crafting certifications, I should speak with a Millenith to be certified as blacksmith, clothier or woodworker. If I want to be certified as provisioner, enchanter or alchemist, I should speak with Daniel Teleno. So this is how people may make money. Guild, so there are a few invitations. Fighters Guild, or Mages Guild. I should first obviously focus for Mages Guild and the main quest line. Now I'm just gonna focus on the others. So Divine Inquiries is my objective. And next I wanna fast travel into the palace that is currently being constructed there. So let's go there. I'm sure that in the palace I should be able to find another quest giver, and that other quest giver should be right there where I'm currently pointing this, and I just want to know if that's the case, because so far I've had bad luck kind of finding those quest givers out there.
Bardau is falling and Red Mountain erupts, but Lord Vivek will still protect.
Tell me about the tribunal.
3 form the tribunal. Mother Morrowind. Almalexia is the protector of the weak and patron of the healers. Sothasil, the father of mysteries, is a tinkerer and a mage, an architect of time. Lord Vivek, the ever-vigilant, is a warrior and a poet.
Okay, so I have not found what I was looking for here, which was a quest giver. Oh well, that's unfortunate. In any case, I'll just have to keep moving from here forward, and maybe at some point I'll have to come back. Now my next objective is to further open up these fast travel locations and just travel along the path and enjoy myself. There is a mount seller here. Best mounts in all Vardenfell right here. Come in and see what's available today. 42,000, that is a little bit steep without a doubt. So I'm just gonna head forward and do this the good old way. Besides, how my character is doing anyway, I could do some magica add-ons, and level 6, 3,800 71 experience needed. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna kill one of these and see how much experience am I getting after killing them. Just like that. Good. Let's see now. I've got maybe 70 experience. So it's certainly not heaps, without a doubt. Also, there is some kind of a town here or something of that sort. I could check it out, so let's go there and see what that's all about. Right here. Amaya Lake Lodge. Oh, this is something I can preview. So that's the lodge, I guess. And I can potentially buy this place, I guess. Probably. I wonder, can I loot it through as well? Let's observe it. Okay, so this is a massive place, without a doubt. And there should be one of the books here. Somewhere, maybe. Because I do see an indication of a book. Nobody is keeping anything here. So it's just open to imagination. And it's huge, without a doubt. One thing's for sure. There's enough space to do a lot of stuff in here. And that's pretty much all of it. Alright. I couldn't just jump out of there. And I'm not seeing that book there anywhere. Maybe the book is outside of this place. I'm not sure. Unless it's just kind of somewhere close by. That's the storehouse. Okay. If this would be a bit different game, I would definitely loot this place. It is a very open world, without a doubt, but it does have like limitations of do whatever you want to do, really. Like the cars that are immortal, I think that's a dear mistake. And that's pretty much it, really. In any case, I'm looking for that book somewhere on the other side of this house. And I can't seem to be able to find it. This guy was eating something there. He has 100,000 in health, so that's not good. I wonder, heart attack's much better choice than non-heart attacks. Done. That's it. And what kind of book was that anyway? That is Vivek and Mephala, Divines and Deities. So where exactly do I need to go for that? It's like as if it's in the water. This water is very clear. and looks kind of very, very refreshing. Investigate whatever was that. Investigate something. Did I collect on something? I'm not sure. But it could be. No, 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 no. In theory, I'm on it. Like, almost on it. Wow, look at that. Fishing something, nest, whatever. But it's empty. So that's the thing, it was empty. You don't have any bait. And this is where it ends, really. I can't seem to be able to find it. Not now. So what will I do next then? I went exactly really for that, to pick up that book. So it's kind of unfortunate that I can't seem to be able to get that book. So I'm gonna go here, and I need to get on the road somehow, and this game doesn't allow me to hit those rocks, jump on those rocks as easy as I would like to. In any case, I need to get on the road, and from here I'll just run to the shrines I need to go to. Also, I may check out my skill points and see. What's this? Call Diedrich shards from the earth? No. These ones are like rank 20. Curse an enemy with a destructive rune. No. Let's take a look at the passives. Nothing. Nothing. Requires increases a magical recovery by 5%. That's a very, very useful skill without a doubt. Okay, that was easy kill because the enemy didn't had a very, very good defense, and here I can do the shortcut. 3 shots or so. 2. 1 more. Done. The beast is down, and I can just keep moving towards that way shrine. Done. It's done. There should be more books somewhere here. Left. Placed. I'm not sure where or how to find it. Maybe it's in the barrels. I picked up some stuff that was in the barrels. And checking the crates. Nothing. How can I get there? Invocation of Azura. Could it be inside? Could it be underneath? It could be underneath. Because these kind of things are most likely hidden. But I have not found anything of that sort in there, and it's probably in the house. So I should head here and see if it's placed somewhere. Somewhere, obviously. No, 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 look at that. I could kind of steal that armor. And that's it, the bookshelf. Notes on Elven Architecture by Gastinus Florus, Mason's Guild historian. Soaring and graceful, or static and repetitive, high elf architecture divides imperial critics much like a painted cow at Richmond feast. Their curved gables and strong pointed steeples emphasize height, with ceilings a giant would have trouble scraping his head on, and rooftops stretching proudly up towards the firmament. Their structures provide a visual echo to the High Elves' appearance as they try to contrast their structures with the bodies of other races. The more perspective of historians such as Cantaber, Jonius of Singrad have discerned clear similarities when comparing settlements of the Altmeri and Iolade, unmistakably because they share the same ancestors. Where the Iolades departed Somerset Island, the Altmer remained. Yet their structures share many common elements. One only need walk the ruins near Bravil, then compare paintings of Skywatch for corroboration. Subtle changes are less obvious. While the Altmer are snobbish, they never sank to eyelid levels of pernaciousness, and the more refined buildings of Auridon reflect this. Such structural designs stem from ancient roots using methods tried and tested, but not to the point of becoming obsolete. The Altmer seek refinement rather than innovation, and they are conceitedly resistant to large-scale changes but are content to tinker. The results reveal highly sophisticated precision, harmony, and the selection and repetition of orthodox compositions. Okay. Risval the Righteous, Part 1 by St. Like all true heroes, Rislav Larich had inauspicious beginnings. We are told by chronicles that the springtide night in the 448th year of the first era in which he was born was unseasonably cold, and that his mother Queen Linada died very shortly after setting eyes upon her son. If he were much beloved of his father, King Maurus of Singrad, who already had plenty of heirs, 3 sons and 4 daughters before him, the chronicles make no mention of it. His existence was so very undistinguished that we hear virtually nothing of him for the first 20 years of his life. His schooling, we can suppose, was similar to that of any spare prince in the Colovian West, with eyelid tutors to teach him the ways of hunting and battle. Etiquette, religious instruction, and even basic statecraft were seldom a part of training of a prince of the Highlands, as it was in more civilized valley of Nibelheim. There is a brief reference to him, together with his family, as part of the rolls of honor during the coronation of the Emperor Georgius on the 23rd of Sun's Dawn, first E400, that's probably the first era, 461. The ceremony occurs held during the time of the Alessian doctrines of Maruch, and so was without entertainment, but the 13-year-old Rislav was still witness to some of the greatest figures of legend. The beast of Anequina, Darlok Brai, represented his kingdom, giving honor to the empire. The chieftain of Skyrim, Kiorik the White, and his son Hog were in attendance, and despite the empire's intolerance of all elves, Shimmer, Indoril, Nerevar, and Dwemer, Dumak, Dwarf King, were evidently there as well, diplomatically representing Resdain, all in relative peace. Also mentioned on the rolls was a young man in service to the imperial court of High Rock, who was to have a great history with Rislav Ryan Durrani. Whether the 2 young men of about the same age met and conversed, it's entirely the stuff of historians' fancy. Ryan is spoken of in praising words as a powerful landowner, eventually buying the island of Belfira in the Iliac Bay and gradually conquering all of High Rock and large parts of Hammerfell and Skyrim. But Rislav is not heard of again in history books for another 17 years. We can only offer supposition based on the facts that follow. Children of kings are of course married to the children of other kings to bind alliances. The kingdoms of Skingrad and Quach skirmished over common territory throughout the 5th century until they reached a peace in the year 472. The details of this accord are not recorded, but since we know that Prince Rislav was in the court of Quach 6 years later as husband of Belene, the daughter of King Justinius, it is fair to make an educated guess that they were married then to make peace. This brings us to the year 478, when a great plague swept through all of Cyrodiil and seemed particularly concentrated in the independent Colovian West. Among the victims were King Maurice and the rest of the entire royal family in Skingrad. Rislav's only surviving elder brother, Dorald, survived being in the imperial city as a priest of Maruch. He returned to his homeland to assume the throne. Of Dorald we have some history. The king's second son, he was slightly simple-minded and evidently very pious. All the chronicles spoke of his sweetness and decency, how he saw a vision in his early years that brought him, with his father's blessing, from Skingrad to the imperial city and the priesthood. The priesthood of Maruch, of course, saw no difference between spiritual and political matters. It was the religion of the Lycian Empire, and it thought that to resist the emperor was to resist the gods. Given that, it is scarcely a surprise what Dorald did when he became king of the independent kingdom of Skingrad. His first edict on his very first day was to cede the kingdom to the empire. The reaction throughout the Colovian estate days was shock and outrage, nowhere more so than in the court of Quach. Rislav Larich, we are told, rode forth to his brother's kingdom together with his wife and 24 of his father-in-law's cavalry. It was surely not an impressive army, no matter how the chronicles embellish it, but they had little trouble defeating all the guards Dorald sent to stop them. In truth, there was no actual battling, for the soldiers of Skingrad resented their new king's decision to give up their autonomy. The brothers faced one another in the castle courtyard where they had grown up. In typical Colovian fashion, there was no trial, no accusations of treason, no jury, no judge, only an executioner. "Thou art no brother of mine," Rislav Larich said, and struck Dorald's heart from his shoulders in one blow. He was crowned king of Skingrad, still holding the same bloody axe in his arms. It looks like I've read this before, but it's always nice to read it again. There are a lot more books here, and maybe I'll find the one I'm looking for as well. Let's see what can be found in here. Vardenfell Flora and Fauna by Tilandra Sildreth, Telvani naturalist. The Vardenfell landscape undergoes a constant cycle of death and rebirth. The mountains, lava flows, eruptions, and ashfall cause dieback in the deciduous woodlands and mushroom jungles. Violent upheaval alters the landscape and buries or exposes the fallen ruins of ancient civilizations. But the island expands as lava hardens and new plants and fungi emerge from the cooling ashes amongst the formations of ingenious rock. Plant life flourishes in the rich soil fertilized by volcanic activity, and so Vardenfell serves as home to a diverse set of habitats and environments. Fungi quickly absorb rich nutrients from the volcanic soil and grow to enormous proportions and dominate the landscape. The large ink-cap mushrooms along the bitter coast thrive on the detritus of decaying swamp life, while smaller fungus varieties cover the rocks, trees, and even some animals, such as fungus-encrusted shroom beetle, adorable. Balmora in the southwest and inland from the bitter coast is still forested, though ash from Red Mountain eruptions threatens to denude the slopes. Though barren, the ashlands host a remarkable number of species. Ash hoppers skitter through the dry ash dunes, and giant xylaria fungi extend their tendrils into the sky. Travelers beware. Hungry reptilian cliff striders lurk atop the crags. Fetcher flies build their hives where they can tap volcanic heat to gestate their eggs. When they hatch, the queen taps a source of magma to animate the nest, and it transforms into a walking hive golem that relocates the swarm to new surroundings. Nyx oxen roam the grazelands in the northeastern part of the island, and though generally considered to be mild-mannered, they will not hesitate to defend their territory. Two-legged wargs romp through the grasses and feed on small bugs. Some people keep these delightful creatures as pets despite their terrible smell. Ancestral tombs dot the landscape, and powerful Diadrak known as Hunger have recently been seen within. The largest mushrooms in the Morrowind appear in Zephyrbell Bay. This majestic species is cultivated by Telvanni wizards and take a wizard's lifetime 1,000 years to grow. These fungus forests have a special ecology of their own, but that's a subject for another book. Okay. The Time of the Ebonheart Pact by Alla Lalith. The wheel of time returns. In the dawn it was the day of the Aldemari, and then came the time of men. But now, as the decay and chaos in the Empire makes clear, the time of men has passed. Of the men of Tamriel, only the Eastern Nords had the strength of character to join Dunmeri, and Aragonians in repelling the recent invasion of Snakemen from Akavir, thereby showing that of all men only they may be trusted. Time and again men have shown that without proper guidance, their meddling with external powers leads to disaster. Men's reckless dabbling with beings beyond Nim must stop forever. Now it is the time of the Ebonheart Pact, which shall and must become the Tamriel Pact. Within the pact, the Adrea, Diadra, and Hiss are well revered. From an appropriate distance within the pact is the Tribunal, 3 living gods who abide amongst us here on Nim, Nirn, and whose interests therefore coincides with that of all residents of Nim. Nirn. Only they have shown how to treat successfully with powers beyond Nirn. The rash actions of those who sit at the Ruby throne or who pull their strings have brought Tamriel to the verge of irretrievable doom. They must be secured from the face of Cyrodiil. They must be scoured from the face of Cyrodiil, and the decaying remains of the Empire of Men must be swept away. It shall be replaced by the Pact, which will enforce peace across the continent and strictly regulate all involvement in dangerous magical pursuits. Onward, warriors of the Pact. We will never know peace and freedom until we occupy White Gold Tower. Okay. The Song of Pelinal, Volume 6, on his battle with Umaril and his dismemberment. Editor's note: this fragment comes from a manuscript recovered from the ruins of the Alessian Order's monastery at Lake Canulus, which dates to sometime prior to the War of Righteousness in First Era 2321. However, textual analysis suggests that this fragment actually preserves a very early form of the song, perhaps from the mid-6th century. And so, after many battles with Umaril's allies, where dead Aurorans lay like candlelight around the throne, the Pelinal became surrounded by the last eyelid sorcerer kings and their demons, each one heavy with Varlians. The white Strake cracked the floor with his mace, and they withdrew, and he said, "Bring me Umaril that called me out." And while mighty in his aspect and wicked, deathless, golden Umaril favored ruin from afar over close combat, and so he tarried into the shadows of the White Tower before coming forth. More soldiers were sent against Pelinal to die, and Yet they managed to pierce his armor with axes and arrows, for Umaril had wrought each one by long variants, which he had been hoarding since his first issue of Challenge. Presently the half-elf showed himself bathed in meridian light, and he listed his bloodline in the Eidolon, and spoke of his father, a god of the previous Kaplas of World River, and taking great delight in the heavy breathing of Pelinal, who had finally bled. Text lost. And Umaril was laid low, the angel face of his helm dented into an ugliness which made Pelinal laugh, and his unfeathered wings broken off with sword strokes delivered while Pelinal stood frothing above him, insulting his ancestor and anyone else that took ship from old Ehlnofe, which angered the other elvish kings and drove them to madness of their own, and they fell on him, speaking to their weapons, cutting the Pelinal into eighths, while he roared in confusion, which even the council of skiffs could hear. The text lost. Ran when more shook the hull of the tower with mighty bashing from his horns the next morning, and some were slain in overabundance in the taking, and men looked for more eyelids to kill, but Pelinal had left none save those kings and demons that had already begun to flee. It was Morehouse who found the white streak's head, which the kings had left to prove their deeds, and they spoke, and Pelinal said things of regrets, but the rebellion had turned anyway, and more words were said between these immortals that even the Paravant would not deign to hear. Okay, what's next? The Called Harbor Compact. Poor Gilvar the Lev, we still recall, the god of schemes consumed it all. To Called Harbor went Clockwork God, to bargain on the prince's sod. They came to mock at tribune small, came schemer, hunger, hunter all. Scholar, Pariah, destroyer came, and raver and twilight just the same. From dread Deirdre save us, from Deirdre keep us safe. Forsake the ones that made us to fight our wrongful fate. They sneered when Clockwork made his demand, till Twilight raised a hand. And what do you offer in return to keep us from chastising none? Then Clockwork whispered long and low, and what he said no mortal can know. From Deirdre save us. From dread Deirdre save us, from Deirdre keep us safe, forsake the ones that made us to fight a wrongful fate. Very nice. Sacred Witness Part 2 by Enric Milleris. I did not come here to hire the Brotherhood, I said respectfully. Then why are you here? The Night Mother asked, her eyes never leaving mine. I told her I wanted to know about her. I did not expect an answer to that, but she told me. I do not mind the stories you writers dream up about me. She chuckled. Some of them are very amusing, and some of them are good for business. I like the sexy dark woman lounging on the divan in Karlovac Downways fiction particularly. The truth is that my history would not make a very dramatic tale. I was a thief long ago, back when the thief's goal was only beginning. It's such a bother to sneak around the house when performing a burglary, and many of us found it most efficacious to strangle the occupant of the house just for convenience. I suggested to the girl that a segment of our order be dedicated to the arts and sciences of murder. It did not seem like such a controversial idea to me. The Night Mother shrugged. We had specialists in cat burglary, pickpocketing, lockpicking, fencing, all the other essential parts of the job, but the gold thought that encouraging murder would be bad for business. too much, they argued. They might have been right, the old woman continued, but I discovered that there is a profit to be made. Just the same. From sudden death, not only can one rob the keys, but if your victim has enemies, which rich people often do, you can be paid for it even more. I began to murder people differently when I discovered that. After I strangled them, I would put 2 stones in their eyes, one black and one white. Why, I asked. It was a sort of calling card of mine. You're a writer, don't you want your name on your books? I couldn't use my name, but I wanted potential clients to know me and my work. I don't do it anymore. No need to, but at the time it was my signature. Word spread and I soon had a quite successful business. And that became the Morag tongue, I asked. Oh dear me no, the Night Mother smiled. The Morag tongue was around long before my time. I know I'm old, but I'm not that old. I merely hired on some of their assassins when they began to fall apart after the murder of the last potentate. They did not want to be members of the Tongue anymore, and since I was the only other murder syndicate of any note, they just joined on. I phrased my next question carefully. Will you kill me now, and you have told me all this? She nodded sadly, letting out a little grandmotherly sigh. You are such a nice, polite young man. I hate to end our acquaintanceship. I don't suppose you would agree to a concession or two in exchange for your life, would you? To my everlasting shame, I did agree. I said I would say nothing about our meeting, which, as the reader can see, was a promise I eventually, years later, chose not to keep. Why have I endangered my life thus? Because of the promises I did keep. I held the Night Mother and the Dark Brotherhood in acts too despicable, too bloody for me to set to paper. My hand quivers as I think the people I betrayed. Beginning with that night, I tried to write my poetry, but ink seemed to turn to blood. Finally, I fled, changing my name, going to land where no one would know me, and I wrote this, the true history of the Night Mother, from the interview she gave me on the night we went. It will be the last thing I ever write, this I know, and every word is true. Pray for me. Editor's note. Though originally published anonymously, the identity of the author has never been in serious doubt. Any layman familiar with the work of the poet Enric Milleris will recognize sacred witness, familiar cadence and style in such books of his as the Alikir. Shortly after publication, Milleris was murdered and his killer was never found. He has been strangled, 2 stones, a black one and white one, crushed into his eye sockets. Very brutal. Okay, these stories are very interesting, but too many of these can end up being a little bit a drink. It's empty. Okay, the bottles were empty. And it looks like the bottles at the same time are kind of worthless. Hags, harpies, and hagrivens. By the unveil as a diech songbird of Sata Kalam. So listened I to a sermon by the thrice honorable high priest Zuladr of the High Temple, and he did inveigh against womanhood and its inherent wickedness, citing the tale of the temptress Shakhari and the bloody crimes of Queen Jezere. Consider hags, harpies, and hagravens, quoth he, are the monsters not all, each and every one, women and therefore wicked? And I thought to myself, it seems to me this is a priest who likes not women. Wherefore, and wherein, if women are wicked, does he find the virtues of man, which he infers as corollary? Was not the grandee Quarism, who basely slew his 13 wives a man, and not the terrible orgies of the hills and the giants of the mountains always male? Consider the legendary Minotaur. Is he not even excessively male? Was not Sep the god deceiver male? So called I then upon the thrice honorable high priest Zuladr in his quarters, and spake this to him, but he was unabashed, and called me immodest and presumptuous. Yes, I presume, I said, and I shall presume further, and I unveiled my features and disrobed my form and said, is this the wickedness you fear, O holy priest? And the priest did shake and perspire, and reach for me with fingers avid and trembling. But I struck them aside with laugh, and resumed my garments. And I said unto him, consider, O priest, that a true woman gives not her gifts to one who does not respect them. And thus did I deliver a sermon into the high priest. Oh wow. In any case, it doesn't look like I'm finding the book I should be finding. Dark Elves, Dark Hearts, from the Journal of a Wandering Laborer, Bakozog Groshach. Orcs catch it in the tusks, no question. Doesn't matter where I go. I could be hauling rope in Varest or laying bricks in Bergama. Wherever I travel I hear it. Savage, brute, beast, it used to really tear me up. I would look at my reflection in a bowl of water or a shop window and think, you know, maybe they are right, but not anymore. Not since I moved to Vardenfell. You want to get a good look at what savage really means. Come spend some time with the Dark Elf. Sure, they clean up well, everything here is clean and polished and pressed, but if you pull back the curtain even a little, you will see evil. And I don't mean a clumsy, childish evil, I'm talking about real evil, lusty, red-eyed and smile like a Deirdre. Enslavement, murder, deception, cruelty, name a sin and you will find it venerated, and name a Deirdre and you will find it worshipped. This island is corrupt straight down to the marrow. Don't believe me? Alright, let's talk about bugs. Vardenfell is crawling with insects, some as small as babe's toenail and some as big as mammoths. That alone wouldn't be cause for concern. I mean the Aheter back home gives some folks the creeps. Most of these critters are hard to look at, but the real horror doesn't come from the bugs themselves. It comes from the dark elves do to them. Take the Nyx ox, never seen one. Picture a flea the size of a horse, propped up on a 6 hairy stilts. Got it? That's a Nyx ox. Far as I can tell, they are gentle creatures. They don't bleat or grunt like other pack animals. They just wander about, grazing on hardened mushrooms, cracking them open with their great big mandibles and lapping up the fungus inside the husk. Gentle giants they are, too gentle I think. Early in the morning, while the beasts are still dozing, 6 or 7 dark elves will descend upon the herd like a pack of greedy wolves. It doesn't take long for them to goad a dozen or so Nyxes into wheeled ox pens. The leader of the crew will take a quick survey of the catch and mark their chitin with black chalk. Prices, you see, of course, some don't get marked, some are too frail or too small to be of use. Rather than letting the creatures go, one of the wranglers will jab them with a spear, right beneath the chin, see, then they kick them out of the pens and leave them to rot. The sad thing is that these are the lucky ones. Nyx oxen that make it to market are divided into 2 groups, Nyx Tova and Nyx Vrima. Tova oxen tend to be older and larger. You can snatch up 2 or 3 for the price of a single Vrima. For the longest time I couldn't figure out why. I finally asked one of the wranglers to explain why larger, stronger Nyx oxen are so much cheaper. Hides too thick, he said. can't pry it. You see, an older Nyx chitin is thick as oak bark. It cracks under pressure. Younger Nyx's hides, however, are more pliable. With a bit of pressure, you can separate the plates to see the organs underneath. This access is what makes Rima oxen so valuable. Wealthier farmers hire specialists called drenlins to train their Nyx oxen. It's a softer way of saying break. The adrenaline bores into the poor breast's back with an obsidian drill and pries open the flesh to expose a bundle of nerves resting in a cavity they call the drive chamber. They set a few hook-like prods into the viscera and then reset the plates. It takes the better part of an hour, but by the end the ox is docile as a lamb. It just stands there, no restless pacing, no nervous twitching of the mandibles. Not alive, not dead, just a husk. I won't lie, it's hard to watch, but you know what the scariest part is? The scariest part is how bored everyone looks. I looked into one of those Drenlin's eyes as he pried a Nyx ox back part, and you know what I saw? The same face my daughter makes when she milks an Ahater. A very disinterested, nothing face, totally oblivious, immune to shame. I will admit I'm not green, child. I will polish off a rack of spare ribs and wash it down with pigging without batting an eye. But digging around inside a beast's brains, turning it into a zombie, it takes a black heart to do something like that. And you know what? Dark elves do it all the time. Okay, that was very interesting. And there's more where that came from. Rumors of the Spiral Skein by Dervis Necromite. Mabhala, web spinner, teacher of the secret arts, queen of the 8 shadows of murder. Though others may reign over us deep in the night, we still hear your whisper, and we do not forget. In oblivion you keep your secrets, and the secrets of all those entangled in your webs of subterfuge and semblance. The Spiral Skein is your realm, and like Nirn in its center is a tower, the Pillar Palace of Mabhala, whose true name is too awful to be uttered. Spun around this pillar like spokes are the 8 strands of the skein, to each its own space and to each space its sin. First is a cavern of plinths and pedestals. Each is a lie, for they pretend to hold up the sky, and the sky is the greatest lie of all. Second are the chambers of envy, for compared to the cavern above they are cramped and confined, and therefore they hate the cavern. Third are the grottoes, alluring the seductive, for their walls and ceilings glow like a million stars that sing a song of love. But the glowing lights are maggots, and the song they sing is decay. Fourth are the tunnels of fear, for they are eternally dark, and where there is darkness there is dread. Fifth, the halls where fair is full and full is fair, and every belief is betrayal. Sixth is the arena of murder, for ever shall betrayal be followed by murder. Seventh are the arcades of avarice and appetite, for contained therein are all things mortals would kill or die for. Eighth is the flaming skein of fury, for as death comes to all mortals, therefore all treasures are lies. This is the Spiral Skein, the tower is 1, the strands are 8, the lessons are forever. Testimonials on Bardao. Bardao looms large over Vivek City, both literally and figuratively. The official explanation is remarkably vague. Apparently, the Mad Prince Shogarath flung the giant rock at Nirn. No one seems to know why or how. Its curious account, even by Dark Elf standards. I took the question to the streets to see what the common folk think of Bardau. These were their stories. Names have been changed to protect the speakers from temple reprisals. I began by speaking to Harry Dark Elf merchant named Tolvasa. She stopped sorting kwama eggs just long enough to recount this tale. Oh, my mother used to tell me all kinds of bedtime tales about Bardot. I doubt any of them are true. My favorite was the tale of the lonely Magna G. It begins at the beginning. In the story, a star orphan named Una fled into the sky with all her brothers and sisters but got lost in the dark. She cried out for help, but one by one her stronger, faster kin fled into Aetheris. Eventually their songs faded away and Una was left alone, adrift in the void. Just when she had lost all hope, she heard a quiet sobbing. It was lonely Nern stumbling through the black, weeping like a babe and trying to lull itself to sleep. Seeing a kindred spirit, Una sailed back to Mundus to comfort the lonesome planet. She named herself Bardot and nestled in close right her above. Vardenfell. Now the star Orphan and Nirn are never lonely because they have each other. Lovely story, isn't it? A Nord miner called Hotstag took a more pragmatic view. It's a gold mine, that's what it is, mark me. There is more kid of precious metal in that thing. My mate's a geologist, works for the Gold Coast mining operations, you know. He says it's got all the signs of a rich deposit. He's got a divining rod, see, it's a dwarf contraption. I think I'm not supposed to talk about it. Anyway, he aimed it at Bardau, and the thing started chirping like a snow wren in springtime. All that's left to do is get up there with a few picks and get a sample. Been looking for someone who could float me up there? No luck though. Say, you don't know how to make a man float, do you? Of course not everyone was keen to talk about Bardau. A grizzled longshoreman named Donovan had this to say. It's a rock, I don't know how it got there. Magic, I guess. Look, I have got work to do, alright, get lost. Most accounts were fairly prosaic. Given enough time and exposure, even the fantastical becomes mundane. Of course, there were a few truly extraordinary accounts like that of Tiram, an excitable dark elf scholar. It's an egg. Obviously, I often hear the Wastrels and peasants calling it a rock. Ignorant twaddle. Only a great fool could look at such an imposing celestial body and call it a rock. Bardau is the chrysalis from which will emerge the last child of Vivek and Moloch Baal's ill-fated union. On that day our glorious Lord Vech will spring forth from his temple and do battle with the emerging nightmare child. After 47 days of pitched combat, Vivek will strike the final blow and cast the beast's ruin down into the Forthing Sea, where it shall break into 36 pieces, none of which will be recovered. It should be quite spectacular and also horrifying. Perhaps the most colorful explanation came from an inebriated orc named Nark Hozuk. What, that big rock? Yeah, it's a giant hunk of dung. No, seriously, way I hear it, Vivek and Malakath were up late one night, drinking and talking about godly things. You know how it is. Well, I guess you don't. Anyway, Vivek said something about orgies that rubbed old Maloch the wrong way. So he popped a squad over the city and dropped a stink pickle right on Vivek's head. Gross, right? That's Malakath for you. Does make me wonder though, what is it with Malakath and dung? When I asked doctrinal inquisitors for an official statement, this was the only reply. You would be wise to leave such matters to the tribunal. The precise nature of Bardo is a mystery. Vivek's divine mercy keeps it from destroying us. That is all you need to know. Despite the temple's best efforts, the moonlit Bardo remains the subject of vigorous debate many long centuries after its arrival. The diversity of opinion is remarkable, especially in a city so thoroughly policed by religious zealots. I find it heartening that even in society this restrictive, folk tales and wild theories can still bubble beneath the surface. It looks like this bookshelf is empty. Or so I thought. Yeah, it's empty. Tale of Bardo by Amelie Draus, Pedagogue. Hearken, young ones, and I will tell you a tale. A long time ago, Shogorat grew bored, which is a very dangerous thing to happen to a Daedric Prince of Madness. As is true of all the House of Troubles, he held no love in his heart, and so he did something very cruel. He took a mighty rock from the void that surrounds us, and flung it far towards Nirn. Now, Shogarth didn't much care where this large rock would hit or what chaos it would cause. He simply wanted to see what it would do. Who was to stop this evil plan? Was it the divines in all their good and wisdom? No, for they can do no more than offer false hope and hollow faith. Perhaps the Daedric princes with their power and enchantments, but no, neither mer nor man could offer enough to get these pitiful princes to face such a daunting challenge. And so it flew and flew and flew, and straight down it came to the most beautiful island in all of Nirn. It fell towards Vardenfell. Many swept and wailed as it approached. The Ashlanders prayed to Azura, who did nothing. Men and Mer prayed to the divines, who did nothing. But the Dark Elves we prayed to the three, to our ever-glorious living gods, and Vivek heard our prayers. He raised his hand, calm and serene, glowing in his holy light, and the fall of the celestial rock became slower and slower still, and all who wept and wailed stopped, for Bardow had finally come to its resting place. Safely there it hung in the air above the spot where Vivek City would one day be built. Now you may ask, what wisdom was there in this? Why did not the great Vivek simply set the celestial rock swiftly down upon Nirn's verdant earth? But listen well. For there is a reason, as with all things the three do. Every day our faith is tested by Bardo, and every day we show our love for Vivek and the tribunal by keeping it aloft. Because it is our love, our devotion, our faith in the tribunal that keeps it hovering above. It is proof of not only Vivek's smile, but of the love of his followers, and so it forever hangs. Reminder to all together now, praise Vivek, praise 3. Well, it could be a kind of a good sign that Vivek is powerful as well. I think it's a sign that the Daedric Prince is extremely powerful as well. In any case, I didn't see an exit there. Not sure what's that all about. In any case, I need to exit. I have not found the book in that place, and not sure where could it be, or maybe I did. Probably I didn't. Probably I did not. In any case, I'll just have to move further.